Today we're going to discuss Islamic beliefs and practices. Islamic beliefs come from the Qur'an, which is the holy book of Islam. The Qur'an contains all of the messages that the angel Gabriel gave to Muhammad. And as you probably remember, the angel Gabriel was giving Muhammad the word of God. So only the word of God has gone into the Quran, according to Muslim tradition. In the Quran, you can find information about Muslim beliefs, such as there being only one God and Muhammad being his prophet. It also does things like encourage Muslims to free their slaves, because back during the time of Muhammad, slavery was a common practice. It forbids drinking of alcohol, eating pork. It also gives women the right to education, to own property, to earn money. And these are all things that we might take for granted today in our society, but they were not common in Arab society in Muhammad's time. Another important book in Islam is the Sunnah. The Sunnah is a book that gives Muslims guidelines on how to live their lives the way Muhammad lived his. The Sunnah is based on the Hadith, which was a written record that was made by Muhammad's followers that recorded Muhammad's words and deeds. So one of the important things that is in the Sunnah is the 5 pillars of Islam. These are the 5 things that every Muslim is supposed to try to do in his or her lifetime. So number 1, the first pillar, is that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet. The second pillar encourages Muslims to pray 5 times a day and sets out kind of the practices for those prayers. The third pillar is to give alms or charity to the poor. The fourth is to fast during the month of Ramadan. Now, Ramadan is an entire lunar month, so the fasting in this case does not take place for the entire month. Instead, it takes place during all daylight hours. So that would be from sunrise to sunset every day for the lunar month of Ramadan. Muslims do not eat or drink anything, and that includes water. And number 5 is Hajj, which is pilgrimage. Each Muslim is supposed to make a pilgrimage to Mecca at some point in his or her lifetime. Now, there are some exceptions that are made for people who are either sick or too poor to travel, or too young, too old. None of these things are supposed to create such a big burden on a person that they threaten the person's health or well-being. So, for example, young children do not fast during Ramadan, neither do the elderly. The Hajj, again, if you can't afford a trip to Mecca, you're sort of excused from that one, but you're supposed to try to do it if you can. So that's a little bit about the 5 pillars. Now, another term that is important in Islam is Sharia. Sharia means Islamic law. Now, here in our society, we have a pretty lengthy tradition of not mingling religious ideas with our laws. We have a pretty strict separation of church and state in the United States, and in many other countries that is also the case. But in a lot of Muslim countries, they do use a lot of Islamic influences when making their laws. So Sharia is based on interpretations of the Quran and the Sunnah together, and those interpretations vary from place to place, country to country. But in Muslim countries, it is very common for Sharia to be the basis for at least some laws, and in some cases today, Sharia may be the basis for the entire legal code in a Muslim country.